Hello, this is Rebirth the Legend here with a guide on jungling Crystalman. So it's going to be a three-part guide. The first one I'm going to give a general overview of how to jungle Crystalman, and the second one is going to cover playing her as a 4 or 5 position. Do you need to buy the wards and the courier, or are you free to open with boots? Both change the way you play just a little bit. So we're going to talk about the let's get rid of these for a second. We're going to talk about the general how CM is jungled, how it's changed over time, and how you need to adapt for that now. So, first things first. So CM jungling originally, for those who are unaware, if you read the description of Frostbite, it lasts for 10 seconds on creeps under level 6. Basically, it means any creep that's not an ancient, it lasts for 10 seconds on, where they're disarmed and they take damage. The way it works is it does 50 damage per half second, which means it's going to do 1,000 damage to a creep. This has been the case the entire time she's been around. The description is just a little more clean now. So, formerly, when Clarity is used to break when you take damage, the way you'd do it is you'd attack a creep, you'd pull it back to the aggro point, and then you'd frostbite it. And then you'd attack it at its max range of its aggression. I'll try and give a little example of that while we're doing it. But generally, that's how you'd have to do it. That way your clarities wouldn't break while you're attacking the creep. You'd also only ever spawn... you'd also only ever kill the large creep in a camp. And you just keep stacking the camps and only killing the large creep. Because camps would spawn every minute, so you'd have plenty of time. Around 7.0 is also when they changed, or actually it was a little bit before 7.0, but it was after they changed, let's pause for a second so I can talk about this. No, we need to pause, fuck it. They added magic resistance to creeps, so when you have a big camp, the little creep in it gives it a magic resistance aura for a lot of the creeps. That actually hurts CM's jungling a lot, because it wouldn't guarantee you'd kill a big creep, particularly in the centaur camps, where it's 2 creeps that give magic resistance. So when those creeps are nearby, you're actually not going to be able to kill it with the frostbite and some auto attacks, because they're gaining a 20% resist aura. In the centaur's case, it's gaining 2 magic resist auras. Now the little creeps in the camp do not gain from their own aura. So you can use that. Okay. So we're going to start a clarity immediately. So you can use that to justify killing one of the creeps before you kill anything else. So we're killing that guy. I probably didn't have to do that last auto attack, which I probably really wanted to avoid doing. The reason we're killing the big one first is giving armor to the little ones, and I have to auto this down and kill it before the minutes spawn. That way I get this camp twice. Looks like I'm going to get it pretty easily. Oh shit. Okay, got it. Getting this is very, very important for a couple of reasons. Getting that dead before the minute guarantees you the first respawn, because this camp's not respawning until 3 minutes after that, which is a pretty big deal. So now we're going to auto this one down. This is also why it's important to start with tangos now, because now I can justify autoing down creeps in the middle of my jungling. Because now it lets me clear out full camps, which is one of the benefits to the changes. So now I can actually deal with those camps that have magic resist, because I can kill the little creeps with it, and I don't have to ignore the little creeps. So that's one of the benefits to regen not being broken now. So we're going to keep just using our clarities here. Then I got this one. I'm going to show you how you handle this camp. First thing you're going to do is kill one of the little bros. Oh, fuck. I misclicked it. Whatever, we got time. You kill one of the little bros. Start targeting the big one. Eat a tango, which you didn't eat for some fucking unknown reason. We're going to frostbite the big one, and we're going to auto down the small one. And on our courier, we're going to send ourselves some more clarities. So now that we've brought it down to only one of the magic resist creeps, he actually stays with just a very small amount of life. Just to keep it realistic, we'll pick up this bounty room. We won't pick up the first one, because we'd never begin the first one, because no one gives a shit about the crystal man. So you only want to bounce back between this and that side. Your other lane is actually going to need the other half of that jungle for pulls and stacks and stuff like that, and your carry is going to be farming it, so you can't really afford to be there. So we're attacking the blue golem, because it actually has the least HP at 600, or rest of them at 800. So I know that my frostbite's going to kill that creep. I don't have to worry about it. So we'll stay over here and kill this medium one. Unfortunately, if these spawn mud golems, you're pretty much just fucked. You can't do anything with it. You're just kind of boned. You just have to ignore it. You can kill a mud golem. It's just a pain in the ass. Alright, so this creep only has 950 HP, no magic resistance, so we can start autoing these creeps immediately. The reason why you kill that one first is because it's giving an aura armor. These don't give the aura armor for mana, or for magic resistance, so you don't need to worry about it. Now I've killed that, we're going to head back south to the jungle, and we only need a little less than 100 experience to get our level 4. So if I didn't slowly jungle that the first time, and if I didn't block that medium camp, we'd be in good shape. If you get lucky, your medium camps will spawn centaurs. With this camp, you can kill just the little one first. You're going to be killing both, so it doesn't really matter which order you do it in. That one's dead. So we'll start targeting this one. His aura doesn't affect himself, but it does affect the big one. We'll take him down. So I think I know this spawn's bad, but I'm not sure. Let's go check it out real quick. Right now is when you'd be ganking. Okay, and that one I would actually normally jungle that. So right now, I hit my level 4 by 4 minutes. I want to grab smokes and I want to start ganking. So be getting this one, going here, auto that. Assuming I'm still jungling, I would do it like this again. I'm going to auto down one of the small ones, kill the big one with the frostbite. When my next frostbite's up, I'm going to kill the other one too. So this is just going to give you an idea of how to do it. It's not going to change too much from when you're 4 or 5 position. It just changes what your starting items are. Having boots is really, really useful for getting into your for rotating in between the camps. The hardest camp for you to deal with is, without a doubt, the troll camp. So the reason I'm going to walk over here now is because I want to be able to clear through that way and then work my way over to the next bounty run. Oops, I missed it. So usually you buy out your smokes now. Get this, that, and that. So now the camps have respawned. If I didn't block that medium, that also would have helped a lot, but that's okay. And we'll keep going. So a few things to discuss now. Now I'm just going to kind of mindlessly do this while I'm explaining random concepts. CM is not a greedy jungler. You can buy a Midas Honor if you have a good start, and it can be very good if you're a 4 position to then buy that Midas. It allows her to get her next core items pretty quickly, and getting that level 20 can be pretty useful because CM doesn't have any actual hard disable. You can BKB out of all of this, so getting a blink and a sheep can be really useful. I usually go blink then Aghanim. Whether or not I get a Midas, some games could call for other things. I'm going to be mindlessly jungling right now, but generally this is not what you want to be doing at this point in the game. You want to actually get active on the map as soon as you get your level 4. The reason you go 1-2-1 is because that aura is going to really help your other lanes, particularly if you have heroes that can benefit from it, like a safe lane Jug, who can now spam his Blade Fury, spam his heal. It's very useful for a hero like that. You could go 1-1-1 and get aggressive a lot earlier. That's definitely an option if you feel you have lanes that can be ganked. Like if you're mid saying, hey, this guy's playing super up on me, maybe you don't want to wait till 4 minutes to gank. Maybe you want to get that level 3 and just start hauling ass, you know? That could definitely be an option. In general, you're going to go first point to Frostbite, next to into Arcane, and then the next to Crystal Nova. And then personally, I prefer maxing my Crystal Nova because it gives you more AoE damage when you're fighting. And you can kind of get... You can get your freezing field whenever you feel is right. You're not really going to have the mana pool to support using all of them at once, though. It's pretty annoying. Generally, I'll max my Arcane Aura first because it's kind of a big bump at level 4, for you personally, where you go from 4 to 8 mana regen for yourself, which is a pretty big difference. We're going to stack this camp. Remember, you want to stack camps whenever you can because hopefully you get a better spawn. In this case, if we're lucky, we'll get a Centaur spawn. And we were lucky. What a fucking day to be alive. I must pray to the right god. We're going to kill that one first, because notice how they have the aura, so they get 20% magic resist. And now I've taken it away. So they no longer get that. They're going to be much easier to kill now. And I gotta emphasize, the stacking is exceedingly important. Because, like, let's say I don't kill this camp fast enough, I need to stack it for that first minute. Otherwise, it can be really awkward. Because, CM is very dependent on her camp spawns. I fucked up here. I should have been autoing that one the whole time, not wasting my autos on that one. Your medium camps can spawn mud golems. If they spawn mud golems, they kind of just fuck you, and there's not really a whole lot you can do. Mud golems are just the bane of your existence because they take a lot of mana. It's really hard to stack them because they break in half. It's a huge hassle. You just really want to avoid all scenarios where you can run into fucking mud golems because they're absolute cancer. But yeah, generally you just want to get really active with your smokes. The benefits to having a jungle CM compared to like a garbage jungle LC, LC's a carry. CM's gonna, one, help all your lanes, and two, she's a one hero ganking machine. You just buy some smokes and you have a great slow that does a lot of damage and a pretty good disable in the early game in Frostbite because people can't blink out of it. If you have like an AM or a Quap you're ganking, or a PA even. And the damage is just very high and holds people in place and prevents them from moving. So any core that has some kill potential is usually going to be able to capitalize on a CM moving into their lane. So you really want to get your level 3 or 4 once you have one in each of those, and then you want to start moving around. You don't really want to move around before that because failing a kill on a crystal main has a huge opportunity cost where you're just wasting a huge amount of time. Because the time you spend ganking is time you could just spend jungling. Like an LC just commits to their jungling, doesn't come out until they have a blink dagger, and can pretty much guarantee that kill. You kind of want to do the same thing. We want to make sure your kills are worthwhile. Time you don't spend farming is time, or it needs to be used effectively. Is basically just what I'm kind of beating the dead horse with about over here. Yeah, so you want to rotate around. I don't really want to get into CM itemizations. It varies depending on the game. Sometimes I get an earned, I usually get a wand. Sometimes I'll rush a Midas, sometimes I'll rush a blink. It just really varies on the game. In general, I personally don't get a lot of blinks, but I know it's, or a lot of Midases, but it's really in the meta right now, so that could be really good to do. This is just want to give you a general primer on how to jungle. You really just want to bounce between these areas right here. You want to stay away from this area because your supports and your safe lane are going to need that. The next two videos are going to encompass jungling hit on whether you're a 4 or a 5. I know that sounds kind of weird, like why would a 5 position CM be jungling, but as an example of when you would do that, let's say that your other support is, I don't know, let's just say a Sand King or something. That's someone who really needs his blink daggers and really needs his itemization. Who's a better one? I'm trying to think. Oh man, my brain's frying right now. It's like 3:30 in the morning. But yeah, the other hero needs like a blink dagger or some key item, even though they are technically. Let's say a lion. Lion's a great example. Lion needs a blink dagger. CM doesn't necessarily need a blink dagger, and so you want to get the lion to get everything he can need. You want to have him get that blink dagger as fast as possible, so he can really get the big game impact that he wants to have. So generally you'd have the CM buying everything in that type of lineup. But she can still jungle even though she's a 5 position, you just end up buying all the wards and everything as well. So in that case that just determines whether or not you're opening with boots or whether or not you're opening with all the wards and everything, which is the only real difference. Let's see, is there anything else I want to really talk about? Yeah, I think the CM jungling has just become a little easier in one way and harder in another. So it used to require you knowing that the max aggression range of every freaking creep in the goddamn jungle, which was a huge pain in the ass, because you'd have to pull it to the perfect difference and frostbite it while you have a clarity going on. If you fuck that up and like a troll gets an auto attack on you, you lose a clarity that could completely bone your entire jungling. Or have you buying clarities that could be smokes, you know? It's just a huge waste of gold. Now that creeps don't break clarities, it's really not a big deal, and it lets you farm out a whole camp. The other thing was that she did not, CM couldn't clear out full camps, it just wasn't efficient, so you'd have a bunch of camps with a bunch of little shit in it that your carriers would have to clean up without getting the big creeps, which is kind of annoying for them, unless they can kill a bunch of shit stacks, but not like big stacks, like an Alchemist. An Alchemist would love to kill a bunch of little creeps and no big creeps. Let's see, what's the other point? Yeah, those aura creeps made CM jungling very hard for a while, because you had the aura creeps and the clarity problem, and they kept reworking all the fucking camps, so the aggro distances would all be different, and it was a huge pain in the ass. Ever since they removed that, it was a huge quality of life. Every time they do that, it makes a CM's job harder, because you have to relearn all the jungle camps that are now fucking irrelevant to what you used to know. The other reason you keep Frostbite at level 1 is because it has an increasing mana cost, and if you're using it to farm a lot, it's not going to be very efficient to keep using it if it's at a higher level. So it goes from 115 to 150. You're going to run into some mana problems on a Crystal Maiden if you're trying to farm a lot. So there's situationally you could level the Frostbite, but usually you wouldn't, because Crystal Nova gives a better AoE damage. Crystal Orb gives better AoE damage, and it keeps your mana cost on Frostbite low, which is kind of a big deal. The only cases where I wouldn't is if it stops like a Blink Strike or something that would otherwise be getting people out of your abilities. Now that we're such a high level, we're able to just Frostbite in W. That way we can kill the whole camp a lot quicker. This does during your mana, so if you're with like an active team and you're moving around with your team, you do want to be careful when you do stuff like that. Because if you don't have enough mana for both of your spells, then you're just a glorified range creep until you get level 10 and 60 damage, which is really nice. At level 10, I'd recommend probably the 60 damage. I'd probably go left, right, right, right for her skill tree. The Frostbite duration is really good, particularly in conjunction with your Ags. 120 GPM gets you your items, particularly if you're playing a hard 5 position. And the cast range is probably pretty good. I don't think 250 health really means much for a Crystal Maiden. If you're dead, you're dead. That's not going to really make a difference in most situations. At least by like level 15, right? That's when like a PA jumps you, and 250 health is probably not going to make a difference. Yeah, so that kind of covered all the basics. That's all I really wanted to talk about for this particular video. The different things you'd want to think about. Just keep in mind, my cliff notes of this would be jungle quickly. Make sure you stack something at the 1 minute mark. It's really, really important that you stack your hard camp at the minute mark. Bounce only between these 2 jungles, not this area, because your safe lane needs that. Plus, it's really far away from everything else, so going over there is just really kind of awkward. The same would go for here, where you'd only jungle here and here, and you just keep walking through the middle. Let's see. And the last thing is just make sure you're active. Don't sit there and jungle a Midas. You're not a Legion commander. You need to get your impact in as fast as you can in the early game, and you just need to connect in those ganks. If you're ganking the safe lane, I'd almost guarantee you have to use a smoke every time. Like I said, you really don't want to risk your gank failing, and the biggest way your gank could fail is if the offlaner put a ward here and they just see you walking up and then they back away. That completely sucks. So honestly, for your first gank, I'd almost always use a smoke, even if it's nighttime. If it's nighttime, you have decreased vision, so like you notice how you have a much decreased range of vision, so it's easier to gank mid at night. Hypothetically, if they have the ward here and you're coming at night, they're still going to see you and they're going to get out. It's excruciatingly important that your first gank hits, to not waste that time, particularly if you're waiting to go on it. The other thing that's just kind of a general thing about ganking is you want to keep an eye on mid. Like, if your gank hits after you also have to communicate this to your mid so they don't fuck it up. Like, let's say they're a quap, you don't want them to wave it down as you're smoking around. So now all of a sudden, the creep wave's at their tier 1 tower. The creep wave's at the enemy tier 1 tower, and the mid is creeping from right here. That's not a gank you're going to be able to get. You want it so the creep equilibrium's here or further back. That way their mid laner is somewhere in this area, and when they're in that area, you'll be able to hit them. But that's just a general way you want to approach ganking mid. You always want to make sure, and it's something I'm actually really bad with. I'm like, okay, ganking mid, and then I'll smoke and I'll go mid. Then I don't realize like my mid laner wasn't anticipating that, so they completely screwed with the creep equilibrium, which is completely on me as a support, because you have to communicate those things. Oh, I want it. Oh, whatever. Do we get him? Do we get the big boy? I don't think we did. I think he's right there. Oh, we did! He was mad as fuck. Alright, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna buy an aggro set there. I'll see if we can kill this guy. I guess I could stop the video there. No one else wants to see this. Yeah, so that about sums up and covered all the basic points on Crystal Maiden. In the next video, we'll go over jungling with boots. This one kind of showed it, but I didn't really talk about it. Yeah, I didn't really talk about it too much. Go on. Let's go. And then the video after that, we'll talk about jungling as a 5 position. I think both are the good way to start on Crystal Maiden, because you really, like, she's not a good lane support. You can sit there with Frostbite and then steal your carry's experience, which is what you do if you had a hard jungler like a Legion Commander. You'd have to just lane support the CM, but in those games you shouldn't be picking a CM. But hypothetically, if you first pick the Crystal Maiden, at that point you don't really have much of a choice. So you just kind of have to endure it and maybe lane support. You'd lane support while probably jungling the hard camp. That's all. That's just what you'd have to do. But okay, cool. We'll end this video here. I rambled for a little bit too much now, so we'll get to the next one.